Is this true about Randy Orton and his WWE status? It's a very interesting question because I think most people would say that Randy Orton is a bona fide Hall of Famer, one of the greatest to ever step foot inside that squared circle. But in all of the time that we've seen pro wrestling, we have seen names come, we have seen names go. And Randy Orton, he is definitely on the back nine of his career. I think he would even admit that. In fact, I would say that Randy Orton is on borrowed time. We thought his career was going to end a few years ago when he was sidelined with an absolutely devastating back injury that resulted in him having major surgery. Doctors didn't think he was going to ever wrestle again. He questioned if he was going to ever wrestle again to the point where he got into a severe depression over it. But ultimately, in November of 2023, Randy Orton made his grand return to WWE and graced all of our television screens once again. Now, Randy Orton's in a guy that he's had a very strong 2025. He feuded with Logan Paul. He was in the mix for the undisputed WWE Championship, feuding with John Cena in his retirement tour. He has been feuding with Drew McIntyre. He teased potentially feuding with Cody Rhodes. We got that King of the Ring tournament match, him and Cody. So he's had a great year until you hear Ric Flair talk. Now, Ric Flair is a guy that has been a huge supporter of Randy Orton. He's been a huge fan of Randy for literal decades at this point. Going back, he was instrumental in Orton's career, him and Triple H seeing something that maybe a lot of people did not see in Randy Orton, the potential to make him a main event talent. That is exactly what they did when they put him into Evolution. Now, Ric Flair, one of the biggest names in the history books of pro wrestling, he did an interview, and he did so with the Eclipse magazine, and he stated that he believes that Randy Orton is being underutilized by WWE's creative team. I know. This is what he had to say. Randy's really underutilized these days. I don't know why. I think maybe he made somebody mad along the way. Randy's not afraid to say what he thinks, and he's not always popular. Okay. Wait a minute. Rick, you think a guy that was in a feud with Logan Paul, John Cena, Cody Rhodes, and Drew McIntyre is being underutilized? You actually think that. You actually believe that. That's wrong. It's not true. It's actually further from the truth than I would even give credit to. Randy Orton is a guy that has been used very, very well. I would go and say the WWE has gone really over the top with Randy Orton. I mean, the guy's almost 50. Okay? He is on the tail end of his career. Yet he's working main event programs. He's working with top tier stars. He's doing some of the best work of his career right now. He's as jacked as ever, which probably doesn't help his back situation, but still, dude's jacked. Looks like the Energizer Bunny out there. But no, that's not true. I think Rick is a guy that wears, and I don't even think this, he's said this, and multiple people have said this in terms of the pro wrestling sphere, if you will, that Ric Flair wears his heart on his sleeve. And I think he really loves and cares about Randy Orton. Probably looks at him as a son and thinks, hey, if this guy's not in the main event every single week, hey, if this guy's not contending and or holding a world championship, then he's being underutilized. Okay? I don't think he is. I think he's in a great spot. Now, you could make the argument he was underutilized when he was in a tag team with Matt Riddle a few years ago, and he was doing absolutely nothing, or he was feuding for the United States Championship. Like, Randy Orton's had some lows. Now, obviously, the tag team with Matt Riddle, partially because they got over as a tag team, partially Randy Orton had a really, really bad back. He could only work tag team matches until he had to tap out and said no more. So, it actually worked out. He also really likes Riddle. I have no idea why, but he really likes Riddle. And so, other than that, look, Randy Orton's been at the top of the game. And in my opinion, Randy Orton has never been a great WWE champion. He's always been a guy that has been able to be in the mix. He's a guy that is a great challenger for a babyface champion, but he's a guy, honestly, he reminds me of The Undertaker in the sense of like, he doesn't need the championship, regardless of how like WWE sees him. He just doesn't. Like, he can feud for a title or he cannot feud for a title. But if he's in a main event program with top tier talent, that's his main event scene. That's his WWE title scene. So he's a guy that does not need the championship, but he does hold a lot of equity in this company for what he's been able to do, what he's been able to accomplish, what he offers the company as well. He brings a ton of value to this company, and they realize that, they see that value, and then they use that. And when we go and we start looking at the next crop of talent, whether it's guys and girls who have not made it, necessarily to his level, well, he can teach them. And if there's talent that's right there that just kind of need help getting over the hump, Randy Orton's there. Randy Orton has a lot of knowledge. Randy Orton's a guy that he's talked about how he doesn't really have Hollywood aspirations. He sees himself being part of the company somehow, some way in his post wrestling days. Now, I don't know what that looks like. I don't see him necessarily as an agent. Could he be part of a creative team? Could he be part of the creative process? Okay, I could see that, right? If The Undertaker can do it from Austin, Texas, working down in AAA, I think Randy Orton can do something. He doesn't have to be Shawn Michaels running NXT. That job has been assumed by CM Punk. He desperately wants that job. So we'll see. We'll see what they end up doing with him in his post WWE, post wrestling career. But honestly, I think Randy Orton's going to stick around for a little bit. I think he got that taste of like, oh, this is how it is when I'm not wrestling. I don't like that feeling. I don't like that taste. And so I think he's going to go into his 50s. As long as he can go out there and perform at a high level, as long as he can still go out there and cut promos, as long as he can continue to do what he feels like he should be doing, then I think WWE is going to keep him under contract. It'll be Randy Orton deciding, hey, I don't want to do this anymore, rather than WWE telling him, hey, you need to leave. I don't see this being a Ric Flair situation where they tell him, no, you have to stop wrestling. Like, we're done here. I don't see that happening. I think he has too much equity built up in this company. Bona fide, first ballot, Hall of Famer, Randy Orton.